Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 4 and today we would like to present to you about feminist theory in international relations. Before we begin, let me introduce you our team members. First, NORNATASHA binti Muhammad ZAINI. Next, FARAZATUL AKMAR binti KHAIRUL ANUAR. Then, SAIDATUN NADHIRAH binti SHAZALI, and lastly is SAFURA SHAFINAZ binti Abdurrahman. Table of contents. Start with team members. Next, introduction, followed by factors of feminist theory, exploration of feminist theory, analysis of feminist theory, impact of feminist theory on international relations, conclusion, and lastly is references.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is SHAFINAZ binti Abdurrahman. Topic for our group today is on the feminism theory in international relations. What is feminism theory? The theory is a set of ideas that seek to understand and address the inequalities and power dynamics related to gender. So the aim is to bring about social, political, and economic equality for all genders. The focus of feminist theory is to analyze, challenge, and ultimately transform systems of power and oppressions that perpetuate gender-based inequalities. Moving on to the key concept of the feminism theory. The first one is the gender equality, the belief that all genders should have equal rights, opportunities, and treatment. The second one is the patriarchy, the system dominance of men in social, political, and economic structures, often resulting in the marginalization of women and other genders. The third one is intersectionality. This is to recognize that people's experiences are shaped by multiple overlapping identities, including race, class, gender, sexuality, and more. The last one is the social construct, to understand that many gender roles and norms are socially constructed rather than biologically determined. There are a few points under the key terms of feminist theory. So the first one is gender, second one is empowerment, and third one is intersectionality. The significant under the gender is central to feminist IR as it influences power dynamics, policy decisions, and social norms. While under empowerment, feminist IR advocates for the empowerment of women and marginalized groups in international decision-making processes. The last one is the intersectionality, where the concept is to help feminist IR scholars and analyze the complexities of the identity and power. Next point is on the father of feminist theory in IR. The first one is Cynthia and Lowe. Cynthia and Lowe is one of the pioneer of feminist IR. He wrote a book about bananas, beaches, and bees, making feminist sense of international politics in 1989. She emphasized that the importance of understanding how international politics affect the woman's life, while another fathers of feminists is J. N. Tickner. He wrote a book about gender in international relations, feminist perspective on achieving global security 1992. So she argues for incorporating feminist perspective to broaden the understanding of security and international politics.
Now let us look into the factors of feminist theory.
Start with the first factor of feminist theory, gender equality. A fundamental principle of feminist theory underscore the importance of equal rights and opportunity for individuals for all genders. In the realm of international relations, promoting gender equality isn't just a matter of principle. It is a strategic imperative for fostering inclusive governance and sustainability peace. For instance, initiatives that advocate for the equal participation of women in peace negotiation are pivotal for addressing the root causes of conflict and fostering lasting peace in conflict-affected regions. Now let's discuss the next factor, which is empowerment. Empowerment lies in the heart of feminist theory, emphasizing the importance of enabling individuals to assert their agency and participate fully in society. In the realm of international relations, empowerment initiatives contribute to building more resilient and inclusive societies. Take, for example, initiatives that provide women with access to education, healthcare, and economic opportunities. By empowering women to engage in peace building and development efforts, this initiative paved the way for more sustainable outcome and equitable societies. Next, let's examine the influence of patriarchy. Patriarchy, a pervasive social system, perpetuates gender inequality by prioritizing male dominance and authority. In international relations, confronting patriarchy involves challenging entrenched gender bias and promoting policy that empower women and marginalized genders. For instance, effort to increase the representations of women in international organization not only enhance the legitimacy of global governance structure but also enrich decision-making processes by incorporating diverse perspectives. Finally, let's delve into the concept of intersectionality. Intersectionality, a cornerstone of feminist theory, recognizes that individuals' experience of privilege and oppressions are shaped by the intersection of various social identities. In the context of international relations, understanding intersectionality is essential for crafting policies that address the diverse needs and perspective of global populations. Consider, for example, an intersectional analysis of refugee policies, which take into account how factors such as gender, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status intersect to shape the experience and needs of displaced populations, leading to more effective and targeted assistance programs.
Next, I will present about exploration of feminist theory. Feminist perspectives on international relations (IR) challenge traditional paradigms by focusing on how gender shapes global politics and by advocating for more inclusive and equitable approach. There are several of feminist views, which is: first, on feminist perspectives on security. In feminist view, feminist scholars expand the concept of security to include human security, emphasizing the protection of individuals from various forms of violence, including domestic violence, sexual violence, and economic insecurity. They argue that traditional security measures often overlook the specific insecurities faced by women and other marginalized groups. On the case study, in the case study of United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325, this resolution recognized the disproportionate impact of armed conflict on women and calls for their participation in peace processes and the protection of their lives. In Liberia, the involvement of women's groups, such as the Women of Liberia Mass Action for Peace, played a crucial role in ending the civil war and advocating for sustainable peace. Next is feminist perspectives on development. Feminists critique these approaches for ignoring the unequal gender impacts of development policies. They advocate for sustainable and equitable development that considers women's roles and contributions, as well as the social and economic barriers they face. In case study Grameen Bank in Bangladesh, founded by Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus, the Grameen Bank provides microcredit to the rural poor with a focus on women. This approach has empowered women economically, improved household incomes, and fostered greater gender equality. Last but not least, feminist perspectives on globalization. According to feminist view, feminists critique globalization for often exacerbating gender inequalities. They highlight how global economic processes can lead to the exploitation of women, particularly in developing countries, through low-wage labor and poor working conditions. Feminists call for more equitable and just globalization policies that address these gender impacts. In maquiladora workers in Mexico case, the growth of maquiladoras which is export-oriented factories in Mexico under NAFTA, has led to the employment of many women in low-wage, exploitative conditions. Feminist activists and organizations have campaigned for better labor rights and working conditions for these women, bringing attention to the gender impacts of trade policies.
We will discuss about the analysis theory. First of all, we will analyze the strengths and weaknesses of feminist theory, considering its contributions to international relations, scholarship, and its limitation or critiques. Let's analyze the strengths of feminist theory in IR. First is visibility of women. Feminists in IR brings the experiences and perspectives of women, often marginalized in traditional IR, to the forefront. It examines how gender shapes international politics, conflicts, and institutions. Next is gender power structure. It exposes how concepts like security, war, and peace are inherently gendered. Feminist IR critiques the overemphasize our state power and highlights the power dynamics within and between states that affect women disproportionately. For example, like sexual violence in conflict zones. Lastly is challenging dominant theories, which the feminist critics push established IR theories like realism and liberalism to acknowledge their shortcomings in addressing gender and power. Next, we'll move on to the weaknesses and critiques of feminist theory in IR. First is essentialism. There are some critics argue that a focus on women creates an essentialized category, ignoring the diversity of expressions within genders and across cultures. Next is overlooking agency of men. The emphasis of women's experiences can sometimes neglect the agencies of men in perpetuating or challenging gender inequalities in the international sphere. While the last one is internal debates. There are various strands of feminist IR, like liberal, radical, or socialist, that sometimes have conflicting approaches and priorities, which can make it seem like a fragmented field. Overall, feminist theory in IR offers a valuable lens for understanding in the complexities of international politics. Next, we move on to the comparison between the advantages and disadvantages of feminist theory within itself in evaluating its strengths and weaknesses as a theoretical framework. First of all, for the advantages, there are three advantages like critical lens, diversity of thought, and social change. For the critical lens, the feminist theory provides a powerful critical for analyzing social structures, institutions, and cultural norms. It exposes how gender, roles, and power imbalance disadvantage women in perpetuate inequality. The second one is diversity of thought. There are numerous branches of feminist theory like liberal, radical, and also socialist, offering diverse perspectives on gender and how to achieve equality. This richness allows for nuanced understanding. The last one is social change. The feminist theory has been a driving force for social change, leading to advancement in areas like women's suffrage, reproductive rights, and workplace equality. Next is disadvantages of feminist theory. There are three disadvantages like focus on women, limited scope, and lastly is implementation challenges. For the focus on women, the primary focus on women can sometimes leave out the experiences of men and non-binary individuals, potentially neglecting on how they are impacted by or contribute to gender structures. For limited scope, while feminist theory addresses a broad range of issues, it might not encompass all aspects of social analysis. Combining it with other frameworks can be beneficial. The last one is implementation challenges, which translating feminist theory into concrete policy and changes and achieving lasting social change can be a slow and challenging process. Overall, the feminist theory offers a valuable framework for understanding gender and its impact on society. However, it is important to acknowledge its limitations. The strength lies in its critical approach and its diverse perspectives. Recognizing both the disadvantages and advantages allows for a more nuanced understanding of gender relations and facilitates effective social change efforts.
Impact of feminist theory on IR on gender perspective, where it highlights on how traditional IR theories often neglects women's experiences, roles and contribution, leading to incomplete understanding of global issues. The second one is the impact on the empowerment, where IR contributes to the empowerment of women by providing platform for their voices to be heard in the global debates. The last one is a policy implication, where the feminist IR scholarship has influenced policymaking by advocating for gender-sensitive policies in areas such as peace building, conflict resolution, development, and human rights.
As we round off our discussion of feminist theory in international relations, let's revisit the key points. Feminist theory offer a critical perspective, allowing us to examine power dynamics, gender inequality, and how gender intersect with various aspects in international relations. It reminds us of the importance of acknowledging women's experiences, voices, and agency in shaping international politics and policy. In summary, feminist theory highlight the urgency for gender-sensitive analysis, policymaking and advocacy to foster equality, justice and peace on a global scale.
That's all from us. Thank you and Assalamualaikum till we meet again.